I told my husband I'm leaving him when he was in the middle of a meltdown. It was 3 in the morning and Kevin was having another one of his episodes. This time it was because he couldn't find the TV remote and apparently that meant the whole world was ending. He was on his hands and knees throwing couch cushions around, yelling about how nothing ever stayed where it was supposed to be in this house. I was standing in the doorway in my pajamas, watching this 34-year-old man act like a toddler who got told no at the candy store. The remote was literally on the coffee table where it always was, but pointing that out would just make things worse. "Kevin, it's right there," I said quietly. He whipped around and glared at me like I'd just insulted his mother. "Don't you dare tell me where it is. I've been looking for 20 minutes and it's not there." I walked over, picked up the remote from the coffee table, and held it up. His face went from angry to embarrassed to angry again in about 2 seconds. "Why didn't you just tell me it was there?" he screamed, snatching it from my hand. That's when something inside me just snapped. I'd been dealing with these meltdowns for 2 years. 2 years of walking on eggshells. 2 years of pretending it was normal for a grown man to lose his mind over missing socks or the wrong kind of bread being in the kitchen. "I'm leaving you," I said. Kevin froze mid-tantrum. He was still holding a throw pillow in one hand and the remote in the other, looking absolutely ridiculous. "What did you say?" "I said I'm leaving you. I can't do this anymore." He dropped the pillow and suddenly his whole demeanor changed. The anger was gone and now he looked like a lost little kid. "Babe, come on. I was just frustrated. You know I don't mean it when I get like this." But I was already walking to the bedroom to grab some clothes. He followed me, suddenly all apologetic and reasonable like he always was after his episodes. "Listen, I know I've been stressed lately with work and everything, but we can work this out. We always work it out." I started throwing random clothes into a duffel bag, t-shirts, jeans, underwear, whatever I could grab quickly. "Where are you even going to go? It's 3 in the morning." "My sister's," I said without looking at him. "Melissa? She lives an hour away." "Good. Gives me time to think." Kevin sat down on the bed and put his head in his hands. "Please don't do this. I promise I'll work on it. I'll go to therapy or anger management or whatever you want." I stopped packing and looked at him. "You said that 6 months ago when you threw your phone at the wall because the pizza place got our order wrong. You said it a year ago when you screamed at the neighbor's dog for barking. You always say you'll work on it. This time will be different." "No, it won't. Because you don't think there's actually anything wrong with you. You think everyone else is the problem." I zipped up the bag and headed for the door. Kevin jumped up and followed me. Wait, can we at least talk about this when you've calmed down?" I turned around and stared at him. "When I've calmed down? Kevin, I haven't raised my voice once tonight. You're the one who just spent 20 minutes having a breakdown over a TV remote." He opened his mouth to argue, but nothing came out. I grabbed my keys from the hook by the front door. "I'll come back this weekend to get the rest of my stuff." "What about the lease? What about our savings account? What about the wedding we're supposed to be planning?" I stopped with my hand on the doorknob. The wedding. We'd been engaged for 8 months, and I'd been so focused on dealing with his daily meltdowns that I'd completely forgotten we were supposed to be planning a future together. "I guess we'll figure all that out later." I walked out and got in my car. Kevin stood in the doorway in his boxer shorts and a wrinkled t-shirt, still holding that stupid remote. The last thing I saw before I drove away was him finally realizing what had just happened. Melissa was surprisingly awake when I called her from the driveway. "Let me guess," she said. "Another Kevin meltdown?" "The last one." I ended up staying at her place for 3 weeks. Kevin texted me every day for the first week, then every few days, then not at all. When I finally went back to get my stuff, he'd already moved out. Left a note saying he was staying with his brother and that he'd transferred his half of the security deposit to my account. The weirdest part was how quiet the apartment was without him there. No yelling, no slamming doors, no daily crisis over something completely ordinary. I'd forgotten what peace felt like.